There was a loud bang on my front door, followed by frantic yelling. I opened it, and there was Karen from the HOA, claiming she smelled gas and needed to get inside immediately. My gut told me something was off. Open the door. There's a gas leak! I can smell it! The pounding shook my door so hard I thought it might crack. I sprinted from the kitchen, heart racing. What the hell? I yanked open the door. There she was, Karen, the queen of our HOA, gripping her phone. In one hand, eyes wide with fake panic. There's a gas leak, she shouted. I smelled it outside. You need to let me in. Now! I blinked. You smelled it outside? From my house? Yes. Don't argue. Time is critical in a gas emergency, she shrieked, trying to peer past me into my living room. You could die, you know, my brain was trying to catch up. Nothing in my house smelled like gas. The air was clean, and I'd just been in the kitchen. Plus, my stove was electric. I don't smell anything, I said, narrowing my eyes. Did you call the gas company? They're on their way, she said too fast, way too fast. But you could be passed out before they arrive. I'm doing this for your safety. I stared at her. She was shifting from foot to foot like she couldn't decide whether to run or barge in. Her eyes weren't on me. They were scanning my entryway. I'm fine, I said slowly. No gas leak. You can wait outside. Let me in, she snapped, shoving at the door. You're not a professional. You don't know what to smell for. I blocked the doorway. You're not a professional either. If you're really worried, call 911. But you're not coming inside. Her face twitched. For a split second, the act slipped. Why are you being so difficult? Because this is my house, Karen, I said, arms crossed. And you're not allowed inside unless I say so. She took a deep breath and leaned in like she was trying to calm down. But I could see her eyes, darting around behind me. There have been complaints, she hissed under her breath. About smells, and noise, and unauthorized modifications. I raised my eyebrow. Modifications? What are you even talking about? I'm just saying, she said, her voice fake sweet now. If there were something going on inside, the HOA has a right to investigate, especially if it's affecting property values. You made up a gas leak, I said flatly. So, you could come into my home and snoop? Her mouth opened, then closed. No, I would never. Let me guess, I cut in. You're not just here out of the goodness of your heart. You're hoping to accidentally find something you can write me up for. You're being paranoid, she snapped. Look, if you've got nothing to hide, that's not how this works, I said, stepping back but keeping the door barely open. You don't get to manufacture an emergency to barge into someone's home. That's called trespassing. She glared at me, her lips pressed into a thin line. Then she tried again, soft, like she was being reasonable. Look, it's not personal. I just need to do a quick walkthrough to make sure everything's safe. It'll only take a minute. Oh, it's very personal, I said, smirking now. Because last week, you left a fine on my porch for having excessively decorative lighting during a holiday. That lighting was blinking red and purple at 2 a.m. They were fairy lights on my back patio, where no one but you could see them. She looked like she wanted to scream. I leaned against the doorframe. You've been itching to get inside my house for weeks, haven't you? She said nothing. I took out my phone. What are you doing? She snapped. I'm recording, I said. If there's a real emergency, I'd want it documented, right? Karen stepped back quickly. You're being incredibly disrespectful. No. I'm protecting myself from someone who just tried to con her way into my house. Suddenly, she turned on her heel and marched off the porch. Fine. I'll make a formal report to the HOA. You do that? I called after her. But next time, bring a warrant if you plan on faking an emergency. She didn't look back, as I closed the door. My hands were still shaking, but not from fear, from anger. Something told me this wasn't over. And I was right. 3 days. That's how long it took her to come back. It was early afternoon, and I was working from home, headphones on, half a sandwich in one hand, and my laptop open in the other. That's when I saw the shadow through the frosted part of the front door, a knock, not pounding this time, just entitled. I pulled my headphones off and approached cautiously. My Ring cam was already recording. Hey, I said as I opened the door. Back again? Karen stood there, arms crossed, a clipboard in hand this time. She was wearing that smug little HOA-issued polo shirt, like it gave her federal authority. "I'm here to conduct an official inspection," she said, without even looking me in the eye. "The HOA board approved a walkthrough of properties on this block due to multiple complaints." I blinked. "So you're telling me the HOA randomly approved a walkthrough, just days after you tried to force your way in with a fake gas leak story?" She gave a tight smile. "It's purely procedural. Homeowners are required to comply." "No, they're not," I said, shaking my head. "Not without prior written notice, and not without my consent." She held up the clipboard like it was a warrant. "You were notified via email. I sent it this morning." "This morning?" I repeated. "You think that counts as prior notice?" "Don't make this difficult," she said, stepping forward like she was about to cross the threshold. "Let me in so I can get this over with." I stepped in her way. "Try that, and I swear you'll be dealing with more than just a YouTube video. I'll call the cops." She leaned in, voice dropping to a hiss. "You think you're clever? You think you can mock the HOA and get away with it? We have eyes on this street. People talk." I laughed. "Yeah? Let them talk. They're probably just as sick of you as I am." That did it. Her face darkened like a storm cloud. "You don't understand what you're messing with. And you don't understand what a locked door means." Then, before I could even register, she shoved the door open. Not all the way, but enough to knock me back a step. "Excuse me," she barked. "I have authority to—" "No, you don't," I shouted, grabbing the edge of the door and slamming it back shut. I twisted the deadbolt instantly and pulled out my phone. Karen was still outside, banging again. "You're obstructing." "An HOA official," she yelled. "I'm placing a violation on your record." I flipped the camera on, aimed it through the window panel beside the door. "Keep going," I said. "Say all of that one more time for the camera." Her face froze. "You're trespassing, Karen. And I have video of you trying to force entry. You want me to send that to the police?" She opened her mouth, then clearly thought better of it. "I'm going to file a serious report about this," she muttered, backing off. "You're being hostile and non-compliant." "Cool. I'll attach your little break-in attempt to my report." Then she was gone again. This time, no yelling, no fake emergency, just a storm of passive-aggressive fury in a cheap HOA polo. But here's the thing. I knew her. She wasn't just going to let it go. I started double-checking my locks. I backed up my ring cam footage. And I made a copy of everything. Phone recordings, screenshots of our emails, even my neighborhood group chat where people were already whispering about Karen being Karen again. And just to be safe, I set up another camera inside, pointing at the front door. Because the next time she tried something, I wanted every second of it recorded. The very next morning, 7:32 a.m., I was brushing my teeth when I heard the click of my gate. I froze. Walked to the front window and peeked out. Karen was already halfway to my porch. No clipboard this time. No panic. Just her. And a single key in her hand. Wait. A key? I rushed to the door, pulled it open just in time to see her. Try to jam something into the lock. She jerked her hand back when she saw me. "Oh, you startled me," she said, fake smiling like she hadn't just tried to unlock my freaking house. "What are you doing?" I said slowly. "I found this old HOA master key in the file room," she said, like that explained anything. I thought, maybe it matched. Some homes used to have standardized locks years ago, back when this place was first built. "You're trying to break into my house with a decades-old HOA key?" I said, stunned. "No, I was just checking. If it didn't work, I'd have left a note." "Karen," I said, holding up my phone again, already recording. "This is criminal. You get that, right?" She snorted. "Oh, don't be dramatic. You think a jury's gonna care that I checked a door that didn't even open?" I stared at her. "Why are you so desperate to get into my house?" Her mouth twitched. "Like I said, complaints. We're just making sure no violations are being hidden from view." I laughed out loud. "Hidden from view? That's the whole point of private property. You don't get to just guess what might be inside and go hunting for violations." She took a step back. "This is not over," she muttered. Oh, I know it's not, I said, staring her down. Because this time I'm not just filing a complaint, I'm pressing charges. Her eyes widened, then she turned and walked away. Fast. But not fast enough to miss me saying, "Smile for the ring cam, Karen." After Karen's last stunt with the old HOA key, I didn't sleep much that night. I kept replaying it in my head. Her trying to unlock my front door with some rusty key she dug up like a raccoon with a grudge. I kept asking myself, why? Why? Was she so obsessed with getting inside? The answer came faster than I expected. The next morning, I got a text from my neighbor, Tom. Tom. Bro, you might want to check your trash cans. Me. What? Tom. Karen was out there at like 6 a.m., digging through people's bins. No joke, she had gloves on. Me. What? Tom. I recorded it. Sending you the clip now. Sure enough, 30 seconds later, I had a video of Karen, full hoodie, gloves, and sunglasses, rummaging through my garbage like a detective. On a crime show, I called Tom immediately. "You're sure it was her?" "Dude," he said, laughing nervously. "It was her. Who else wears white orthopedic sneakers and a property values matter hoodie? She spent 5 minutes with yours. Didn't even touch mine or Mel's." I felt sick. She wasn't just being nosy. She was hunting for something. Later that day, I went through every drawer in my house, every document pile. And then I remembered something. A few weeks ago, I'd had some contractor estimates printed for a small basement remodel. Non-permitted, not even started. Just notes and ballpark quotes. The papers had a red markup I'd scribbled on top. Add vent, might break HOA rules. They were crumpled, tossed, in the trash. And now, probably in Karen's purse. That was it. That's what she was looking for. She didn't care about a gas leak, or safety, or community standards. She wanted proof. I was modifying my house without telling the HOA, even if that proof was just notes I'd thrown out. I felt the rage boil up again. She had no boundaries, no shame. And now she thought she had something on me. The very next day, I got the letter. Plain white envelope. No return address. Just slid under my door like it was contraband. Inside was a photocopy. My own scribbled estimate sheet, circled in red, labeled in Sharpie. Unpermitted construction? Below it was a typed note. The HOA has become aware of potential violations. You are required to schedule an interior inspection or face escalating fines. There was no signature, no official seal, just more intimidation. I stared at the page, then laughed bitterly. This woman really dumpster dived to fabricate a violation. But now, I had what I needed. Proof that Karen had taken something from my trash, without consent, and was using it to fabricate a case. I walked straight to my computer, pulled the ring footage, and clipped every second of her trying to unlock my front door. Then I matched it with the trash can clip Tom had filmed. Synced timestamps. Made a little highlight reel with captions. Title: HOA President Caught Snooping and Trespassing to Manufacture Violations. I didn't even post it publicly, just attached it in an email to the entire HOA board. That same night, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" I answered. "This is Stephanie," said a clipped voice on the line. "Vice President of the HOA board. We received your email." "Great," I said. "So you saw the video?" "We did." "And?" There was a pause. "I'd like to speak frankly, off the record." I stayed silent. "Karen has overstepped before," Stephanie admitted. "But no one's ever had clear evidence like this." "Well, now you do," I said. "And I'm giving you a choice. Either you deal with it, or I'm pressing charges and going public. That video will be on every HOA horror story subreddit in 24 hours. She'll deny everything," she said quietly. She always does. "I've got timestamps, footage, even her handwriting on the fake violation notice," I said. "Let her try." Another pause. "You'll get an update within 48 hours, she said finally. "Until then, please don't escalate." "Oh, I won't," I said calmly. "But I'd suggest someone tells Karen to stop escalating first." I didn't hear anything the next day. But the day after that, a certified letter arrived from the HOA. Not to accuse me, but to apologize. They regretted the confusion. They could not substantiate any violation. They acknowledged overreach and were taking internal measures to ensure future compliance with privacy standards. No names, no blame. But the message was clear. They were covering their butts, because Karen had gone too far. That same afternoon, I saw her walking her little yappy dog past my driveway. She didn't look at me, didn't wave, just picked up the pace like she was hoping I wouldn't notice her. But I noticed, and I wasn't done. Because snooping through trash and trying to break into my house, that's not just an HOA issue, that's a criminal one. At this point, I knew Karen wasn't going to stop just because she got a polite warning from the HOA board. That woman didn't understand limits. If anything, the letter probably just ticked her off even more. So I made a decision. If she was going to keep trying to trap me, it was time to flip the script. I wasn't going to just sit back and react anymore. I was going to bait her, and I was going to catch her red-handed. Step 1 was simple. I left a stack of papers on my kitchen counter, close enough to be visible through the window if someone got nosy. They weren't real plans. I made up fake blueprints labeled Phase 1 Secret Basement Renovation. Do not submit to HOA. Big bold letters. I even threw in a mock invoice from a fake company I called Stealthy Reno Inc. The whole thing was designed to look suspicious, like I was doing some crazy project without approval. Then, I placed a camera inside, angled toward the window and front door. Outside, I adjusted my motion sensors and made sure the ring cam would notify me instantly, not just record silently. I was ready for anything. Now all I had to do was wait. 2 days passed. Nothing. Then, on the third night, 2:13 a.m., my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Front door. I opened the Ring app instantly, heart pounding. There she was. Karen, dressed in black, hood up, flashlight in hand like she was on a stealth mission. She tiptoed up to my porch, scanned the windows, then crept along the side of the house toward the bushes near the kitchen window. I tapped my phone, screen recording the live view. My internal camera kicked on too. And what I saw next almost made me laugh out loud. She pulled out her phone and started snapping photos, right through the glass, zooming in, tilting her head, whispering to herself. I guess my fake plans worked. But then, she went a step further. She pulled out a small suction cup and glass cutter. You read that right. She tried to cut a circle into my window like she was in a spy movie. It didn't go deep. Obviously, this wasn't a movie, and she wasn't exactly Mission Impossible material. But the second she started twisting that tool, I tapped my phone and triggered the panic siren connected to my security system. The wailing alarm exploded through the night like a fire truck had crashed into my living room. Karen screamed and fell backward into my bushes. I bolted out of bed, grabbed my phone and flashlight and ran outside. She was scrambling to her feet, dirt on her knees, hair wild. Flashlight dropped behind her. "What the hell are you doing?" I shouted, recording the whole thing. I was just checking," she stammered. "I heard a noise, thought someone was breaking in." "Oh, so you brought a glass cutter to help them get inside faster?" Her face went pale. "That's not... This is a misunderstanding." "It sure is," I said, turning the flashlight toward her. "You misunderstood the part where this isn't your house." She started backing away. "I have the whole thing on video, Karen. Photos, too. Multiple angles. Want me to call the cops right now, or should we go ahead and send this straight to the board again?" "No cops," she blurted. "Oh, I think it's past that point. Then I did what I should have done weeks ago. I dialed 911. By the time the police arrived, Karen had tried to disappear. She ran 2 houses down and pretended to be walking her dog, which was wild considering she didn't have the dog with her. But the footage didn't lie. I handed them my phone, showed them everything. Her creeping around, the attempted window tampering, the fake HOA letters, even the dumpster diving clip from earlier that week. To their credit, the officers didn't need much convincing. "You're pressing charges?" one of them asked me. "Absolutely." Karen stood there, arms crossed, trembling, not from fear, but from rage. "She's mentally unstable," I said, loud enough for her to hear. "She's obsessed with control, and she thinks being on the HOA gives her a badge and a search warrant. She's not getting into your house again. the officer said. That's a guarantee. They didn't cuff her, but they took a statement, logged the evidence, and gave her a trespass warning right there on the spot. One more incident, and she'd be arrested. She didn't say a word, didn't look at me. Just stood there fuming, fists clenched, teeth grinding like she was chewing concrete. But me? I slept like a baby that night. The fallout was fast. Less than 48 hours later, every house on our block got an email from the HOA board. Karen had resigned due to personal reasons. The email was sterile, vague, and tried way too hard to sound. Like it wasn't written in a panic, but the neighborhood, they knew. By the end of the day, the group chat was blowing up. Screenshots of my ring footage were getting passed around like party favors. Even people who used to defend her were suddenly silent. One guy even dropped a meme in the chat of Karen in a ninja outfit with the caption, "Breaking." HOA Karen auditions for Ocean's 14. The vibe had completely shifted. No one feared her anymore. They were laughing at her. And best of all, she stopped coming outside. I wasn't done, though. I filed a restraining order the next day. And since I already had everything documented and dated, it went through without a hitch. Karen was officially barred from coming within 50 feet of my property. Let her try one more time. I dared her. But she never did. I didn't expect the neighborhood to rally around me the way they did. After the video leaked and Karen was issued a formal trespass warning, I figured people would go quiet, let it all blow over like one of those unspoken suburban scandals. But no, people were done with Karen, done with the fake emergencies, done with the HOA drama, done with the "I run this neighborhood" attitude, and they were about to make that very clear. It started the following weekend. I was doing yard work, honestly just enjoying the peace of knowing Karen couldn't come. Within 50 feet, when my neighbor Mel walked over with a grin. "You coming tonight?" she asked. "To what?" "Neighborhood movie night. We're setting up a projector in the cul-de-sac." I blinked. "That's a thing?" "It is now," she smirked. HOA used to shut it down every time someone tried to organize one. Something about noise ordinances and parking concerns. But now that Queen Karen's off the throne, she gave me a playful shrug. "I'm in," I said. "Need anything?" "Just bring a chair. And maybe that footage of her cutting your window. People want to see the director's cut." We both laughed, but she wasn't kidding. By 7 p.m., the cul-de-sac was filled with folding chairs, picnic blankets, coolers, and the sound of kids playing tag. It felt like a real neighborhood, one that wasn't being micromanaged to death. Tom was there. So was Mel. So were the Johnsons, the Lius, and even old Mr. Rourke, who used to keep to himself unless Karen was knocking on his door with another notice. The vibe? Pure freedom. I took a seat just as the projector flickered on, expecting to see a Pixar movie or something light. But nope. It was my ring footage, and not just the Ring doorbell clip. Someone had edited the entire saga together like a mini documentary. Karen, the HOA Chronicles. Title card and everything. The whole thing played like a suburban true crime special. Dramatic zoom-ins, Karen fumbling with her fake keys, the trash diving footage, her flashlight stunt at 2 a.m. Every time she said something ridiculous, people laughed. Every time I caught her in the act, they cheered. By the end, someone in the crowd stood up and clapped like we just watched a Marvel movie. That night felt like the first time in years the neighborhood actually bonded over joy, not fear, and it all stemmed from finally standing up to her. The next morning, I saw the for sale sign. It was planted in Karen's front yard like a white flag. She hadn't come outside since the trespass incident, and now she was leaving. No announcement, no goodbye. Just a quiet retreat in defeat. Word spread fast. By noon, the group chat was popping off. Mel. "Wait, she's moving?" Tom. LOL, she finally snapped. Lisa. "Anyone else feel like it's Christmas morning?" Mr. Rourke. "I'm buying fireworks, no joke." I didn't reply. I just sipped my coffee and smiled. But there was one last surprise. A week later, I got a letter. Hand-delivered, no postage. I almost tossed it, thinking it might be some leftover nonsense from Karen. But the handwriting wasn't hers. It was from Stephanie, the HOA vice president. We, the remaining members of the HOA board, want to formally apologize for what you endured. While we tried to keep things civil internally, Karen's behavior clearly went far beyond our control. Your patience, your composure, and, let's be honest, your surveillance system helped expose the extent of her abuse of power. Because of your actions, we're now revising several HOA policies to prevent this from ever happening again. We're also implementing a vote-based system for any future home inspections. No more unilateral emergency checks. On behalf of everyone, thank you. Enclosed was a $100 gift card to Home Depot and a note in pen. For your next renovation, get it permitted or not, we won't send ninjas this time. I actually laughed out loud. A few days later, Karen was gone. A moving truck showed up at 7 a.m. She didn't make eye contact with anyone, just loaded up the last of her white patio chairs, her artificial potted plants, and disappeared like a bad dream you wake up from halfway through. The cul-de-sac felt lighter the second she was gone. That weekend, we threw a block party. No permits, no notices, no measuring tape to make sure someone's lawn chairs weren't too close to the curb. People brought food. Someone hired a mariachi band. Mr. Rourke brought the fireworks he promised, and at one point, Tom raised his drink and said, "To our fearless HOA survivor." Everyone turned to me and cheered. I took a dramatic bow. "Just doing my civic duty," I said. "One ring cam at a time." Since then, things have been peaceful. The new HOA board is made up of actual neighbors, not power-hungry clipboard addicts. People repaint their shutters in whatever color they want. We have potlucks in driveways. Kids ride bikes again without getting scolded about helmet color. It feels like a community now. And as for me, I never did finish that basement renovation. But I did frame one thing. That first fake violation Karen sent me, the one she typed up after digging through my trash. I hung it in my office with a note underneath. Here lies Karen's last stand. And every time I look at it, I remember, if someone fakes an emergency just to get in your house, make sure they regret it. Because there's nothing more satisfying than watching the whole neighborhood come together, not just to expose the problem, but to celebrate its downfall.